on, my home studio engineers? Welcome back to day 5 in this series. Tomorrow, we're actually going to start to dive into this mix. And in case you missed it, here's a clip of the song we're going to be going over.
These kings and queens, they all fall, headless back into destined unaware just what will be done, looking for treason and overtake the throne.
Like I said, tomorrow we're actually going to start to dive into this mix, but today I want to talk to you about your listening environment. Listen, I'm not here to tell you how to treat your room because there are so many videos out there on that subject. What I'm here to do is to tell you the truth and, more importantly, what I've learned over the past 15 years. Like I said on day 1, I've been in a lot of different environments over the years, and I've not always been in the nice setup that I have today that is both a nice recording space and a decent area to mix. Before this, I was recording clients out of my basement that was converted into a decent studio. Years before that, I was in the dingiest basement setup you could imagine. And in the beginning, I started out mixing in my bedroom in my parents' house, like so many of us start out. And what I've learned over the years is that it doesn't matter how much time you spend on setting up acoustic treatment in your mixing room. The honest truth is that your room is lying to you, and you are most likely not getting an accurate representation from your monitor. The only way to get an accurate representation of your mix is to completely take the room out of the equation and mix on headphones. But what do we do if we want to mix on monitors? Because of course that is so much more fun. Well, let me show you. First, I just want to say that I am in no way saying that acoustic treatment is useless. It's very useful. I have tons of treatment in my live room, in my mixing room. Of course, you can make your room better by putting up acoustic treatment. The majority of information that I've seen out there on YouTube and other platforms about setting up acoustic treatment is very helpful. Of course, you should cover your early reflection points. Of course, you should have acoustic treatment above you on the ceiling. All that stuff makes your room sound better and gives you a better listening environment. But what pro engineers will tell you and pro mastering engineers will tell you, and what I've learned over the years, is there is no way that you're gonna be able to trap enough of the low end in any room in your house. And guys, I'm just trying to be honest with you here. I'm just trying to spread what I've learned, spread the knowledge I've learned over the years. That's all I have to give you. So I just want to let you guys know what really changed the game for me and improved my mixes probably by about 25%. But first, if this video helps you out in any way, if you wouldn't mind just liking and subscribing, because any growth allows me to just basically reach more engineers out there who might need help. So the majority of the problem in our listening environments is usually the low end. We just can't trap enough of it. So I don't care how many bass traps you put up or anything like that. I mean, we got drywall all around us. The low end is the major problem in most of our home studio setups. And if you think about it, the low end and the bass in our music is really the most powerful part in our music, and it travels the furthest. So if you've ever heard a band playing, outside at a venue or maybe at a park, you can usually make out the low end when you're pretty far away, but you can't really hear the high end because that low end just travels so far. And if you're maybe next to a car that's really bumping some music, you can usually hear the low end, but not so much, again, not so much the high end. And a car is really a perfect listening environment because you have all those windows. So all the bass is escaping the car. It's not getting trapped anywhere. So a car is an awesome listening environment, but we're not mixing in an area with tons of windows usually. So what do we do about this? What do we do about making our listening environment better? Well, you've probably seen it before, and I didn't believe it till I actually bought it and tried it. But Sonarworks is my secret tool. Ever since I've gotten this, my mixes have jumped to a completely new level. It's actually a pretty decent price for this software, and I would recommend it before going out and buying any plugins or anything because, like I said, your listening environment is everything, and it's just so important to actually have an accurate representation of your mix. Plugins, there's so many out there. There's a lot of cool ones out there, but they're not really going to make your mix any better if you can't actually hear what your mix sounds like. And this software is actually really easy to set up. It takes about 20 minutes. It comes with a microphone. I suggest getting the package with a microphone. And it basically takes some EQ readings on your room and comes back and EQs your listening environment so that you have a flat response. Now, it's not completely perfect. As you can see here, I've made a few adjustments to the EQ curve that it came back with, but there were major problems around 150 and in the real low end of the EQ spectrum. I always make sure and turn this off when I go to reference on headphones. But now when I'm mixing on my monitors, I just have so much more clarity and I'm not overcompensating for the low end buildup that's in my room. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, my room is still lying to me. This isn't perfect. But if you want to mix on monitors, we have to try to make these corrections as best as possible. There's no use mixing if you can't actually hear what the mix sounds like. If your room is having too big of an effect on the final sound, when you take it to the car or when you take it somewhere else, when you listen on earbuds, it's going to sound completely different because maybe you've overcompensated for some of the inconsistencies in your room. Now, if you can't spring for this software, because I completely understand people are definitely handicapped by budget. First of all, I would save up for it if you're really serious about mixing. But if you don't have the software and you can't get it or you don't want to get it, then I would heavily rely on just referencing other music out there. Because when you listen to that, your room's going to have the same effect on that music as well. So I would just rely on referencing other music, do a lot of referencing while you're mixing so that you can try to match, the low end and high end of music that's already out there. So that's all I have to say on your listening environment. Again, headphones are always just a great option to cut the room out of the equation. But that's it for day 5. And we'll see you back hopefully for day 6 where we'll actually start to dive into this mix a little bit. Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to download your free Ultimate Home Studio Mix Guide with your go-to EQ and compression settings for all your tracks. And also be sure to register for my free online mix training that I hold a couple times a week so that you can learn how to make radio quality music from your home without breaking the bank.